Hello, friends. How are you? Now, the pressure that Ugandans, of course, have exerted on the U.S. government is starting to bear fruits, and it's you're starting to get response. Um, for over, I think, 20 years, Museveni has been the sort of regional power blocker in the Great Lakes region as well as the East African region. That is in Kenya, Tanzania, around Kenya, Tanzania, Congo, and all these other areas on behalf of the Western powers, that is the British, Americans, and all these other people. And as a matter of fact, his contribution as a regional power blocker, they have been consulting him on particular issues of security, terrorism, and so on and so forth. Now, the other issue that has been happening is that through that role, he has managed, this is not an official role that he's being given, but there is this policy after the Cold War, even during the Cold War, that these Western powers used to have, whereby they would see a strong man within the region, and then they would protect him or give him the support needed to keep him in power at any cost possible in order to avoid Soviet influence or things of that sort. Now, even after the Cold War ended, that policy still continued for British and American interests as well as the European interests in one way or the other, and that is why you see that when Museveni came onto the scene, he grabbed that position himself. That's why you see he got involved in Congo, left a mess there, got involved in Sudan, left a mess there, got involved in Rwanda, left a mess there. Everywhere he got involved, he made a mess, as well as going to Somalia, he also made a mess. So all of a sudden, with his machinations and tricks, he managed to trick these Western powers through his connections with his lobbyists to create this narrative that without him in the region is going to be unstable. Now, we have seen a shift ever since Bobi Wine came on the scene, ever since people in the diaspora have been pushing for Museveni to be out. Now, we are seeing this shift that is very important to the fact that now the Americans are drifting more towards Kenya rather than towards Uganda. Museveni has enjoyed a lot of support in terms of military training, in terms of military deployment in Uganda as a result of the support he has been giving. Like, he's their man in the Great Lakes region. He has been their man. But now the things are shifting, and US policy has shifted ever since Trump left power, as well as the Brexit happening. The British are cutting down aid, as well as the European Union is putting him under a lot of pressure. Now, amongst the signs, we have seen that the US now is dealing more directly with Kenyan government or with the Kenya as a country, rather than dealing more with Uganda in order to to solve its whatever, or to represent its interests in the region. That is why you see now US is directly getting involved with Somalia through the Kenyans. In the past, it would get through Uganda as well as AMISOM and so on and so forth. Now, what this means is that, of course, Museveni is going to lose out on the training that he has been receiving from the US, number one. Number two, he's going to lose out on the arms and ammunition that he has been receiving, as well as financial support he has been receiving, which means that aid cut to Uganda is going to be cut. I don't know by what percentage, but this is going to hit a heavy blow to Museveni, given the fact that the Americans are now very, very much interested in working with the Kenyans rather than working with Museveni, who is a liar, because he even lied about issues in Somalia, whereby the Ugandan soldiers were selling arms, they were doing sorts of stuff, lying about the number of Al-Shabaab militants killed and all those kind of things. The British are also cutting back on their aid. Now, there's this story that has been running in Kenya, in the nation, that says that Biden to send troops to Kenya as US boosts war on Al-Shabaab. It says that the U.S. President Joe Biden has announced the deployment of American special troops to Kenya to help in the region's counterterrorism efforts. In a letter to the U.S. Congress sent by the Sunday Nation, President Biden said that he had approved sending special operation troops to Kenya, which is expected to collaborate with the Kenyan military in combating Al-Shabaab. The number of troops is not indicated. The U.S. deployment is expected to be a security boost for Kenya, which has in recent years suffered deadly gun and bomb attacks from Al-Shabaab. The Somali military group is known to have sympathizers in Kenya. Al-Shabaab has been attacking Somali government and military targets, but occasionally launches high-profile assaults in neighboring states, including Kenya. Northeastern Kenya and parts of the coast have particularly been targeted by the terrorists. But there have been previously high-profile attacks in Nairobi, including the Westgate Mall in 2013 and the Dusit D2 complex in 2019. Al-Shabaab has publicly declared the intent to conduct attacks in retaliation to Kenya's counter-terrorism operations in Somalia, which it conducts as part of the African Union mission, and may be emboldened following the announced U.S. withdrawal of forces from Somalia last year. Former U.S. President Donald Trump last year ordered the withdrawal of an estimated 700 American troops from Somalia by January 15th, with the Pentagon saying that the time they would be repositioned, they would be repositioned to other parts of East Africa, likely Kenya and Djibouti, and continue to carry out raids against the militia and smaller cluster of Islamic State fighters from bases in neighboring countries. The Biden administration, which has publicly maintained it considers Kenya a strategic partner in fighting terrorism, has embarked on the reversal of many policies that had been rolled out by Donald Trump. In furtherance of counter-terrorism efforts, the United States continues to work with partners around the globe with a particular focus on the United States Central African Command's areas of responsibility, explained President Biden to the U.S. Congress on Tuesday. Now, I will leave that there. But what is most important here is that you see, all that sort of support, all that sort of work would have been going to Museveni, but now Museveni is no longer receiving that sort of aid and is not going to receive any sort of training from the Americans, because what the Americans have been told, or the activists that are protesting against Museveni have been told, that look here, you guys are training Americans are training Ugandan soldiers, but it is the Ugandan soldiers that are killing people. So now, all of a sudden, the US doesn't want to be in the limelight, whereby it is working in collaboration with the Ugandan troops in order to fight terrorism, but yet the same troops are terrorizing Ugandans. So, being in some sort of quagmire that is going to lead to, to contradict themselves in everything that they profess to be standing for. And also the other issue of Museveni that is having, there is a lot of baggage on him. He has not yet solved the November killings, of which the people who killed these people in November the 19th and 20th are the same troops that were trained by these Western governments, that is the Americans as well as the British and European Union. They have been training these SFC boys as well as some UPDF elite forces. So they no longer want to come in the limelight and be part of that, because it really gives them a lot of headache, especially for a despot that is very old, elderly, and is kind of dying in one way or the other. Now, the other important issue you should understand is the fact that the issue of climate change with the East African oil pipeline and that kind of stuff, because with that, the pipeline, it is an interesting scenario, because climate change is on top of Biden's agenda. It is also on top of the American, the Biden administration agenda. And we know Museveni has been reaching out to actually get a lot of money from the French and some banks in South Africa to help him to finance this pipeline. Now, of course, if Biden has any deals with Museveni, maybe they will be strictly and so covert in order for the world not to know, because Museveni is in a bull's eye of every sort of person. Everyone wants him out. The climate activists, human rights activists, Ugandan activists, everyone wants Museveni out. So if you try to align yourself with him today, it's a deadly game. And that is why you see now the Biden administration is resolving more to look for other players in the region, for example, Kenya, work with them and make sure that they stop, they cut their risks of working with Museveni in one way or the other. And that is why you see that even in Tanzania, they are reaching out to that lady known as Salma Suluhu, because we know very well that John Pombe Magufuli was a very, very good friend of Museveni. I have my reservations about Magufuli, but we all know that after Magufuli left, Magufuli was very anti-West and stuff of that sort, and yet Museveni, on the other hand, was pro-West and that sort of stuff, which is interesting. But whenever Magufuli left power, whenever he passed on and Suluhu came to power, the Americans started engaging the Tanzanians and started to work with them, because what they are trying to play is trying to kind of isolate Museveni in one way or the other, especially among these major countries in the region, that is Kenya as well as Tanzania. So they know that if they can have Tanzania on board and then they have Kenya on board, then they wouldn't need Museveni that much, because the Tanzanians would also give them access to the Congo, if at all that is what they want to sort out. Like if they want to go to Congo, they can work with the Tanzanians without raising a lot of hallo-ballo from different individuals or different people. But now this leaves Museveni in a very precarious situation, because we all know very well that the issue in the Congo of terrorism that I told you about, that is the terrorists in the Congo are Museveni's terrorists that he is trying to own in order to play that particular card, in order to earn this sort of support that the Americans are are throwing to anyone who has a terrorism problem in Mozambique, in Cabo Delgado, as well as in Congo, in the Kivu province and all these areas, because we haven't seen any American support being declared in Congo, but we are yet to see it and wait and see what happens. But as we speak today, the game that Museveni has known very well for a long time in Somalia is actually looking like it is coming to an end, and soon Ugandan troops are going to be withdrawn, and I believe that the US will have some sort of it's going to change the strategy, especially depending on the outcome of the elections that are going to take place soon, and then they will hand over the government to the Somalis, and then they will just have a little presence there, as well as the AMISOM. So Museveni will have to withdraw his troops out, and then the Americans are likely to work with the Kenyans, because the Kenyans are the immediate neighbors of the Somalis, and see how to handle the entire country and something of that sort, leaving Museveni out of the picture completely, talking about you being used and dumped. That is what they mean. So yeah, that is what is happening apparently, and we believe that it is really something good for people that have been fighting in Uganda that now maybe the Americans are yet to realize. But also the American presence in Kenya is meant to train the Kenyan soldiers, for any interventions in the region, that is in Sudan, Uganda, Tanzania, as well as Congo. The Kenyans should be able to intervene on behalf of the Americans, but also working in collaboration with the American troops, just as Uganda has been doing for the past couple of years, because they have seen that working with Kenyans, at least you are assured of government change in one way or the other, not relying on an individual for 35 years, but then when that individual falls, he falls down like a house of cards. The entire thing you have built for a long time, it just falls apart, because there is no continuity in terms of governance and things of that particular sort. So that is some news out there, and we shall keep following the developments on this story and seeing the moves that the Americans will be playing in the region, and we shall be coming here to make just simple analysis here and there for you to to keep up to par in one way or the other. All right, cheers. Don't forget to subscribe, share, and give the video a thumbs up, as well as comment and tell me what you think in the comments below. Have a blessed one.